This video is for the submissives that desire to submit in the bedroom, and how funny it is that most of these people are typically high achieving, high performing executives, business owners, the people who are fucking on and dominant in everyday life. Those are the ones that want to surrender in the bedroom. Hello, hi, that's me. So I'm going to talk about my own experience, my clients' experiences, and why this is a thing. Hello, you're listening to Healing with Kink. I'm Karina, a psychotherapist, a coach, feminine embodiment guide. I blend everything I know about psychology, sexuality, kink, spirituality, and basically everything that makes us our most authentic selves. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an episode. Let's play. So if you're someone that is just always fucking on at work, you get home, and then the kids are doing this, and your partner's doing that. You're managing, you're delegating. Maybe you're running multiple companies. You're making shit happen. When it comes to intimacy, maybe you just want to be led. Maybe you just want to surrender, submit. Maybe you want to go all the way to the edge here and say, I want to be taken. I want to be ravaged. I want to be stolen. There's different textures of surrender that we can play with. I craved this for so long, and I actually never knew it was a thing I could ask for. I thought that since I was always on at work and in my life, I felt like when it came to sex, I also had to be on. I didn't know that surrendering and submitting was a thing until I got into the world of conscious kink and really using submission intentionally to relax, to let go, to surrender. Something that was very hard for me in everyday life. And just a little tangent here, the more that I learned how to do that in BDSM, the more surrendered to life itself I became. So let's talk about the nervous system's role in this. When you are on all day, especially if it's a stressful day, your nervous system is in a sympathetic state. That is a fight and flight response. You're activating, you're planning, you're managing, you're achieving. In order to surrender, what needs to happen in your nervous system is an activation of the parasympathetic state. That is the rest and digest setting in your body. And that's why submission feels so deeply healing and nourishing. It's not just about fun and play, but your nervous system is literally getting a chance to exhale, to release, to simply be, to be led, where you can turn off your brain and just be led. This is actually why I love shibari. When you're tied up in ropes, there's nothing you can do. You can try to be a brat, but ultimately your body can't move. So it's this cocooning sense of safety, of being fully held. I love being a rope bunny, and I love tying people. So I'm a switch, which means I like both sides. So for me, when I really desired to access submission, I didn't really know how to go about it. You really need a qualified dom in order to take you there. I personally hired a dom. His name was Yosef Sagi. And I hired him. I know this is crazy. There are very few people who will go out of their way to hire a professional, but I did, with the intention of fully surrendering. I wanted to give my body the somatic knowing, because I knew cognitively what it felt like to surrender, but my body didn't know what that was yet. So in hiring him and accessing that place, I then gained the internal awareness that I now literally carry into my everyday life. If you want to hear that full story, I do have a podcast episode about it. It's not on YouTube, but it is on my podcast, and it's called Accessing God Through Submission. It's a really short episode, but I talk about my experience hiring a dom and everything I got out of it. So let's talk about why it is very difficult for people to admit that they desire submission. We have been conditioned to be strong and independent and doing it all ourselves, right? Women have been conditioned, men have been conditioned, humans have been conditioned. America is a very hyper-individualistic society. It's very, I'ma do it my fucking self. So when we have a desire to surrender, when we have a desire to receive intimately in a way that allows us to fully rest and receive support from an other, i.e. our dom, it's scary as hell to admit, because desire is inherently vulnerable, because in expressing a desire, you open yourself up for potential rejection, potential judgment, and subsequent potential projections of shame from the other person. I have definitely been there where I express a desire and a partner looks at me with fucking disgust. And that hurts. Right in the heart, it really hurts. But the more that you practice stating your desire, the easier it is to live a life where you let your desires lead in everyday life. So say that you're with a partner and you're expressing, hey, I have this desire for submission. I guarantee you that when you go out in everyday life into your career, it's gonna be so much easier to ask for a raise, to ask for whatever it is that you desire in your career, because you've practiced this in the bedroom. And this is actually why I see sex as so powerful, because it is a playground, it is a microcosm for us to test out these human quirks and then take it into our everyday life. My very first YouTube video actually talks about that, the powerful healing nature of sexual energy and how it transforms everything if we use it intentionally. And kink happens to be one of my favorite ways to use it intentionally. So I'm gonna give you a little story about how me expressing my desire one time hurt the fuck out of me. My mic might die soon. I hope that doesn't happen. Okay, so I wanted to bring in more of a tantric practice into one of my previous relationships. And so we had a format where before sex, we would state our fears, our boundaries, and our desires. This was a way of creating a really intentional lovemaking. And this man, when I stated all of my desires and all the things, then it was his turn. He started off with his fear, and he said that he feared that he would feel disgusted. And that fucking hurt. My fawn response came on. I put a smile on my face and I was like, okay, thanks for expressing. Moved through it. Proceeded to make love very awkwardly. I don't even think I looked at him in the eye. And that was it. So that's an example of how sometimes stating your desire might not land in the way that it's desired. Not the most favorable response. It taught me that in expressing my desire, that is for me. It's not for anyone else. So the next time you state your desire, know that it's for you, like you've done the thing. And that's hard enough in and of itself. So gold star in expressing your desire. One of the fun things about submission is that you really get to advocate for yourself. Like this is the time for you to state exactly what you want. How hard you want it, how soft you want it, how long you want it. And what do you want after the experience? What type of aftercare and nurturing do you desire? That's the fun thing about BDSM. And when you think about it, the sub is kind of leading in that sense because the sub creates all of their contingencies, gives it to the dom, and then the dom creates the scene, but ultimately that scene was created due to the sub's desires. So if you're listening to this, something tells me you're probably sub, or maybe you're a switch, but I invite you to lean into your desires. What do you want? Literally write down all of the things that you want. And if you're not sure, take a test. The BDSM test, I'll link it in the show notes, is probably one of my favorite tests ever, but it starts to get your head spinning around, what do I actually want? Because if you don't know what you want, my friend, you're not gonna be able to ask for it. And here's a little plot twist here. I used to think, well, let me rephrase this. I have been very good historically at asking for what I want. Like I'm very clear on what I want and I state it verbally very well. But the fun thing about being a woman is that we get to play with not just stating our desires, but allowing our bodies to reflect that desire. So how can you literally, oh, this is gonna be a hard one, but how can you literally with your body show that you desire something from your partner? How can your body quite literally send the signal? Because men need signals. And they are creatures that need a lot more signals than you think. There's a lot of women that think that they're saying the thing and they're like, oh, but I continue to ask him for XYZ. But if your body's communicating something very different, he's not gonna get it and he's not gonna show up. So this is actually one of the practices I teach my clients is how can my body exhibit what my words are saying? This is feminine leadership. Feminine leadership is working with your body, working with your energetic signature. If that's up your alley, fill out an application in the show notes so I can teach you all about it. This is what I love teaching my one-on-one clients because when we lead as women from our bodies, from this feminine frequency, we become so much more powerful because the world can shift just due to our frequency, not just the words that are coming out of our mouths. So I'm gonna end with this. Whatever gender you are, submission doesn't make you smaller, it makes you more powerful. Vulnerability, that is a strength. To fully surrender, to fully give your body in a way that most people don't do, that's strength. You can desire to surrender in the bedroom and not lose your power. You can still be a super boss babe if that's your identity. And you can surrender in the bedroom, you can soften, you can allow yourself to receive. Your desires are not wrong, and the moment that you claim them, that's when everything changes. Because you're sending a signal out to the universe that says, I know what I want, and I can ask for it. And then the universe says, bet. Delivers it straight through. But you need to first have the courage to state it, to truly live it, to allow your body to also signal that it wants it, and then just watch the magic unfold. Now, I'm so curious, if you're a sub, if you're exploring BDSM, drop it in the comments. Like, tell me where you're at. Where are you in your BDSM journey? I want to support you and I want to celebrate you. Thank you so much for listening. If this resonated, hit like, hit subscribe. I do this all for free because I fucking love it. Your support truly means the world. It helps grow the show. And if you're feeling generous, post it on your story and tag me. I would love to repost. If you want to go even deeper, head into the show notes, check out my free membership, my paid membership, my one-on-one services. The work does not need to end here. It's truly just the beginning.